Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and that is one very fast and luxurious SUV. That is the 2024 Mercedes-AMG GLE 53 Coupe. And in this video, I'm going to take you on a quick tour of this one, show you what's so special about it, and why you may want to look at one if you've got a little money in the bank. Stay tuned. All right, gearheads, before we get too far into this one, I do want to thank Mercedes-Benz for delivering this to us for a full week's worth of testing here. As I'm filming, this is July 4th weekend, and this thing is just so comfortable and so luxurious. It's quite the ride to spend a long weekend with the family, but since we are up front, I'm going to go ahead and lift the hood here and talk about what motivates this thing and what gets it down the road. So this is not the faster AMG GLE 63 Coupe with its bi-turbo V8. This has a turbo inline 6, a 3-liter twin scroll turbocharged inline 6, making 429 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. It is mated into a 48-volt hybrid system. So the way that this system works, much like the E-Class that we've tested here on the channel and some other Mercedes-Benz products in the lineup, it can keep the air conditioner, compressor running and things like that when it is stopped at a light, but it does kill the engine so that you're not wasting all that fuel. It does make for better fuel economy. I will say the window sticker on this one says 18 city, 22 highway, 20 combined. We are seeing better than that in our time. I don't know if I said 429 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque, and it is mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission and will put that power down to all 4 wheels thanks to the AMG the 4MATIC all-wheel drive in this. This thing is really fun and really powerful. It does have a rear-wheel drive bias, but you would expect that. Closing the hood, my goodness, that was loud. We can take in the styling of this 2024 AMG GLE. And from this point of view, it looks much like the normal GLE. And I say that because you can get the Coupe or the traditional SUV. And this is the Coupe version. Being that it is an AMG, you get this Panamericana, there we go, grille up front. I really like it with the vertical slats and that AMG badge there in the grille. Full LED lighting up front, headlights, running lights, turn signals, all that good stuff. And yes, just that big bold grille. Coming down here, we do have air pass-throughs here on the corner. If I could get a good view of it right there, that does help direct air around the front of the vehicle for better aerodynamics. This is a very windswept look, and especially as we come around here to the side, you can see that coupe-like fastback rear end on this one. This is a very, I would say, jelly bean-like overall design here on the side, and even more so back in the back. Me personally, I think I would go for the traditional GLE over this coupe, because you do sacrifice a little bit in the rear cargo compartment, but as you will see here in a little bit, that's not too much of a drawback. Coming up here to the wheels and tires, you can see we have got these machine-faced and black wheels wrapped in Continental cross-contact tires. These are 275 45 R21-inch tires wrapped around these AMG specific wheels. You can see we've got those cross-drilled rotors with the AMG brake calipers back there in the back. And then this does have an adjustable air ride suspension, so you can raise and lower this vehicle depending on what the situation calls for. It does have all-wheel drive, and like I said, you can raise it up very high, so this can be taken off-road, though that isn't really the mission I would put this thing up for. It really is a comfortable, luxurious Grand Tour SUV, if such a thing would exist. I would say in a world that is SUV crazy, these coupe SUVs, which is a term I don't exactly love, this is definitely a Grand Tour of the bunch. Overall, like I said, very sleek, fastback design back here in the back. Looking at the rear of the vehicle, again, you can get a standard SUV that has a more boxy, squared off shape back here in the back. That does get more cargo space, but when we open that rear hatch, you will see that is absolutely not a problem. I am really digging this twilight blue paint job. It is very subtle, and depending on the angle in which you see it and the way the light hits it, it can be a dark blue, it can be a blue gray. Just overall very attractive color all the way around. Our model does have these running boards, but again, with that adjustable height suspension, me at 5'10", I find them really to be more of a nuisance than a help in any way, shape, or form. But they don't stick out or protrude too far, so you can see it's not that big of a problem. Coming around back to the back, you can see the jelly bean-like design that I was talking about earlier. Very round, very bubble butt back here in the back, but you do get that GLE 53 badge on the right and the AMG badge there on the left. And then this Mercedes logo actually hides one of the ways you can get into the rear cargo compartment. You just push up on it and it opens the power rear hatch. And here you can see we've got plenty of cargo room, even though we've got this sloping rear glass. So based on what I am seeing with the rear seats up like they are here, you have 27.4 cubic feet of space, which is more than behind the third row of some very large SUVs like the Cadillac Escalade. And if you fold those rear seats down, you're just under 60 cubic feet. 59.6, I believe, is the number there. You do get a hard parcel shelf right here that is hinged in a couple of places, so you can fold it back and get it out of the way here and have more access to your cargo area right here, or you can flip and fold it out of the way. But you can see tons of space back here for my backpack, some leftovers. And again, talking about that adjustable height suspension, there is a nice little lever back here to where you can lower the vehicle to its lowest ride height, so it is easier to load stuff in and over that rear bumper, because you can see the vehicle's going down right now. That is a very nice touch and gives you just a better overall load-in height. Really like that a whole lot. You can see it's already dropped down quite a bit, and the solid light there is letting us know that. We do have a little bit of hidden storage right here. I will say from experience, this is perfect for a dozen eggs to fit in quite nicely. And then we've got a little bit more over here and all your electrical stuff behind this panel over here. So a little bit of interesting storage around the wheel wells and stuff there. And then we have the false load floor. That is just one ginormous piece holding a very slim temporary spare and all the necessary tools and equipment for changing that, whether it be your jack, your tire iron, etc. And you can see this is a felt line compartment. Many lesser vehicles, less luxurious vehicles, you just have bare metal in here. Well, painted, primed metal, but here we have felt lined for quiet ride and just an overall upscale appearance there. We'll say, okay, I'm 5'10". We have the vehicle in its lowest height right now. You can see I've got plenty of headroom underneath the hatch here, but just over my head, these are the buttons that you would need to use to close the hatch. So if you are a little bit vertically challenged, I do have a 5-foot wife, you may be using the key to close this more than anything, especially if you have this in its higher ride heights. But again, I did lower it to show you exactly what that was like. We'll go ahead and close it. And very quiet, no beeps, no warnings that it's coming down like in some other vehicles that we've tested or own. And then coming down here, because this is the AMG version, you get this rear diffuser, these AMG branded exhaust tips, but to borrow a phrase from my good friend Joe Rady, I will give it a slight zonk, because you can see those exhaust tips are not actually connected to the exhaust system. The real exhaust feeds into these chromed nice AMG tips here, but we do have a quad exit exhaust. And on a cold day, you are going to see the exhaust actually coming out of those tips. Unlike what Lincoln is doing with their Aviator, I think this is a better touch. Before we get in this one, I did want to show you the key, typical Mercedes-AMG key. Not their bigger, bulkier, all metallic one, but this one is all plastic, shiny black plastic. We do have lock and unlock and your hatch release right there, as well as a kind of panic button right there. You can deploy an actual physical key from it right there, but it is a proximity key. You can just keep it in your pocket and come up here and press the backside or touch the backside door handle to unlock, and then all 4 doors actually have this little square right here that locks the vehicles. You know it is locked because it folds in the rearview mirrors, and even coming back here to the back doors, you can unlock the vehicle by touching on the back of the back doors. So if you've got a kid and need to load them up, that is a very nice touch right there. I'm going to go ahead and open the door, and before I jump in, I just want to show you this very luxurious interior from the 2-tone seats with contrasting stitching. That is very nice. We've got leather and suede on that. That is Napa leather, very nice. Over here to the doors with open pore wood, leather with contrasting stitching here, leather down here. Overall, a very, very nice vehicle all the way around. You can see we've got the Burmester sound system, heated and ventilated front seats, 3-person memory. All the controls are right here on the door, except for coming down here, we do have lumbar on the seat itself. But I really like how easy it is on Mercedes-Benz products to adjust here. We even have a thigh support, which extends the thighs out for you longer legged folks that need just a little bit more thigh support there. But like I said, this is a 3-person memory driver's seat. The passenger seat also has 3-person memory with heat and ventilation. Interesting placement here for the lock unlock hidden behind the door handle, which does sound like it could be a metallic nature instead of just looking like it. Adjustable mirror controls, you can power fold them, and then very nice, very satisfying window controls here as well with a lockout. Coming down here is where you would find your hatch release and a little bit of extra storage down here. This is hard plastic down here, but it does not feel cheap or anything like that. Why don't we go ahead and come in here, because I did tell you it is July 4th weekend. It is quite warm outside. We're going to go ahead and put our foot on the brake, push the engine button right here, and let this thing fire up to life. Typical Mercedes startup here. And I said her name. I said her name, so she heard and is responding, but go away. You can see here, I did have my ventilated seat on when last I drove this. I did not have to push this. Kudos, Mercedes, that you remembered I want my ventilated seat on, so that's very nice. Over my left knee here, we have all of our light controls for the vehicle, as well as our brightness, our fog lights, and electronic parking brake. You can see a little bit here in the daylight. We do have some of the ambient lighting here and in this door handle area. I do have it on the active lighting, so I really like that. It's moving and active. We have a very large air vent here to the left of the dual 12.3-inch color screens up here. But I will say this one is fake, so it's just giving a look of symmetry. But I don't know about that one. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this massive fake air vent. We do have 4 single vents here in the middle, so that definitely helps get airflow all the way around the vehicle, or to you if you want to point all 4 at you. You do get dual zone up here, automatic. Very easy, very satisfying controls here. See, just listen to very nice clicks as it goes along here, and as you adjust it, it does let you know up there on the screen exactly what's going on. Before I get too far inboard, I want to talk about the steering wheel and the gauge cluster and stuff like that. So we do have the AMG leather and suede wrapped wheel. I love it. You can see it's flat bottom, leather up top, suede on the sides where you're really going to be grabbing it most. We do have, I'm going to go ahead and metallic gear paddles back behind. You can see this is how you put it in drive reverse. Over here is all of your light or your wiper controls, front and rear. And then we've got some controls here on the steering wheel. There are a lot of buttons. So up here, these controls, touch sensitive, control that gauge cluster. Over here, very similar, they control the infotainment. Down here, we've got adaptive cruise control and all the buttons there. And here we have all your radio controls. Down further, we've got drive controls. So over here is your different drive modes. You can actually turn the dial between a bunch of different ones. We'll get a little bit into that later. Here we have many different things that we can set here. I showed you outside we are in the lowest ride height, but I can change that. I'll go ahead and put it mid. I can tell you there's nothing mid about this car. It is very nice, but you can actually push on it and cycle through many different things that you can adjust from this little screen right here. And then you would adjust it by pushing the button right there. Same is true here of the exhaust. I can turn on the sport exhaust if I want, or turn it back to normal, or I can go through a variety of different things right here, from traction control, all different types of vehicle dynamics. Very nice, very adjustable, but these are touch sensitive, capacitive touch, so I can kind of swipe through different things here on the display. I'm not actually pushing any buttons, but you can see I'm just swiping through all the different information. You can see we've only put 42 miles on this. We've got a Bronco Raptor while we've got this, so it's been competing between those two vehicles exactly which we want to drive. But you can see 21.4 in the 1,700 miles since this has been reset. I forgot to reset it when we took delivery of it, so those are the best numbers you have right there. Get a rather traditional speedometer, tachometer readout here, but you can actually change that. Let's see. Oh, there we go. See, I could have reset it, but I just haven't yet. We can go through various different gauge screens here, different layouts. We could do understated sport, super sport with that AMG, and you can see it dramatically changes the look of the home screen or the gauge cluster here. But many different layouts here, including navigation, driver assistance, off-road. Again, you can take this one off-road. The tires that are on it are definitely not off-road tires, and this really is a more comfortable on-road cruiser, but it can be done. And then I will call out here at the bottom of the TAC, with it being a 48 volt mild hybrid system, you can see when it's using that for power or when it's recharging it. But yes, 91 degrees, quite warm. That's why we're sitting in here with the engine running. Typical MBUX infotainment system here. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I like that a whole lot. Makes for a very easy to use unit. It is touchscreen, but you do have the option of using the trackpad down here. I can't say that I've used the trackpad too much. I just find myself gravitating towards a touchscreen just a little bit more. There's a lot of stuff you can customize in here as well. And there are some shortcut buttons down here, including this little vehicle button that really takes you into some of the more quick access functions that you would want here. But you can go into all settings and you can see everything from your driving assistance, your driving dynamics, the interior lighting, exterior lighting, your seats, everything that the vehicle does. You can do from here. You can even do a 360 mode and select exactly what it is that you want to work on, whether it's the interior, the exterior, the lights. There's a lot that you can customize with this vehicle, including a few quick access buttons down here. I will call out, they give you a volume roller. I like that. That's a thumbs up. If you're not going to give me a knob, give me a roller. That works very well. Your drive dynamic modes, you can change it on the steering wheel or right here in the center console as well. Quick access button for the camera here. So this is not in reverse. This is hitting the power button right there, but you can see you can swipe around to see different angles around the vehicle and see exactly what is near your vehicle from any different directions. There are a few presets here. You can set it to automatically come on when the parking sensors realize that you are near something. You can also set it to remember based on the GPS location to automatically turn on itself. If you put it in reverse, you can see you get a backup camera with trajectory. And then if you put it in drive, until you get up to a certain speed, you get a forward-facing camera with trajectory. And as you turn the wheel, it adjusts where the focus is on that front-facing camera. So that's very nice as well. Also, when you put it in reverse, the rear view mirrors do dip down to help you see what your tires are doing back there. That rear camera is under the Mercedes-Benz logo that also doubles as the rear hatch release. So if you're interested there, you can even deploy that if you want. A few other buttons here from telephone, your radio media, or your navigation, and you do get a nice leather palm rest here for using that trackpad. More open pore wood here with 2 cup holders that do deploy with some adjustable little holders here. So depending on what bottle or cup size you have going in here, there you go right there. 2 USB-C ports that interface with the infotainment, Qi wireless charger up here, so very nice up here as well. And you do get an adjustable height for the suspension right here. Many different ways to interact with this vehicle, and I like options. So you have multiple different ways to interface with the touchscreen up front. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in park because we have been in reverse. Multiple ways to interface with the infotainment up here, multiple different ways to interface with the driving dynamics. I like it a lot. We do have a split opening center console right here with USB-C in it. It is not felt lined all the way around, just here in the back. So let's see, is the bottom? Yep, the bottom's felt lined as well. So it'll be fairly quiet, whatever you put in there. And then we have the glove box here that is felt lined, it is damped, and you can see it's all leather wrapped up here. So very, very nice interior. And then talking about these seats, they are not massaging, but they are, like I said, heated and ventilated. I love the dual tone, I love the suede, I love the comfort of them. They are very adjustable and very comfortable. We'll go ahead and call out the very large panoramic roof on this one with the roller shade. We don't have a suede headliner in this one, but this one is still a very nice, luxurious vehicle. And if we want to go ahead and open that massive glass panel, we can do that there. So one thing, some of the Hyundai Genesis products that have the same switch type mechanism, it's very easy to accidentally open the glass when all you want to open is the roller shade. Not so much here in the Mercedes-AMG GLE. Very easy to tell the difference between the roller shade controls and the actual glass controls. Given that we have that big panoramic roof, I can say I've got plenty of headroom. I'm not going to bang my head here at 5'10", but if you do have a taller torso, could be a problem. But yes, these front seats are so comfortable. I didn't even call out, this is a power adjustable tilt telescoping steering wheel that does have, I'm going to have to pull around and show you here, heat as well. So heated steering wheel, and all the controls are for it right there. But I'm going to go ahead and pop out here, make sure the doors are unlocked, and we are going to move around to the back door and show you what the back seat is like in this. You can see we still get open pore wood back here. We still get leather on the door panels. No sunshades back here on this model. And then we have our 40-20-40 split bench rear seat. You can see right here is the handle in which to fold it. It is very flat folding, but you can see we've got that 20% there in the middle that can be folded down independently of the driver's side, with the 60% when they go together being here on the driver's side, which you can see works out very well for where we place our child seat in this vehicle. If you want to see what it's like to install Tucker's child safety seat, be sure and subscribe, follow along for our family review that will be coming out soon. On the backs of the front seats, we do have mesh or nets back here with elastic strap. It is hard plastic here, but leather up here. We do have rear air vents on the back of the center console. Nothing in the headrest, so something to take note of there. A little bit of storage right here, I guess, and 2 illuminated USB-C ports. You can see we do still get ambient lighting down under the seats, and on the doors back here, you can see it's changing from blue to purple to red. So very nice interior ambient lighting. The center seat does have a fold down center armrest with 2 cup holders, and like I showed you, see if we can actually get it to fold, a fold down center pass through, so if you had some long items. And all 3 seats do have that top tether, but only the outboard seats have the lower tethers. Coming around to me, with that sloping rear roof line and the panoramic roof, I have a surprising amount of headroom back here, probably just as much as I did up front, so very comfortable back here. I've got no complaints. Let's see, no recline though, so you are pretty much set here, but I do have a very nice view out of that panoramic roof up in front of me, and a very nice view of the very luxurious interior in this one. I like this vehicle a whole lot, but let's get back behind the steering wheel and see what this thing drives like, because it is, well, it's a lot of fun. Getting in, turning it on, getting comfortable. The seatbelts will snug up to let you know, hey, we got you. But yes, very, very comfortable vehicle. Before we get too far into it, I do want to talk about the different driving dynamics. You can see there's a sliding scale here, but there is this individual mode. There's also snow or slippery mode here that adjusts everything from your engine, your suspension, your driving dynamics, and your exhaust. You can see all that is also over here. I'm gonna probably spend most of this drive in Sport Plus, but I can tell you we've driven this around in comfort and it is very comfortable. But in Sport Plus, we are at our lowest setting and the exhaust is at its loudest. Let's give it a quick listen here. Nice little burble. It isn't it isn't the 63's twin turbo V8, but for an inline 6, I really like it. But push down on the gear selector right here for drive. I'm actually going to change to the more sport-oriented gauge cluster here before we set off down my favorite driving roads. I will say, being in Sport Plus, it does firm up the suspension in this, but also being raised to the highest drive height also firms up the suspension. There's just a little bit less travel there and makes this thing just a little bit different to drive. But I can tell you, I am absolutely being pampered in this one, and I am absolutely loving the overall interior of this, the ambiance and everything. I will say these handles are very strategically placed for when you get out and have a little bit of fun. I am going to pull out here on the main road, come to a quick stop because AMG does claim 0 to 60 in 4.9. We'll see. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, this thing is quick. We're already doing 60. It's fast, it sounds good, and it's a lot of fun. Again, going back to that grand tour of an SUV, that's what this thing is. It is very much a grand tourer. And as you can probably hear here in Sport Plus, it likes to hold those gears. So this being a 9-speed automatic, there are a lot of gears to go through to make sure you are in the right power band. But I can adjust them with these metallic paddles on the back of the steering wheel. You know me if you followed along for a while. I drive a 6-speed manual daily. I love the interaction, but when it comes to flappy paddles, I don't know if I've just not spent enough time actually using them as paddles. But if you're giving me an automatic transmission, I'm going to test out what your programming has done for the overall vehicle. And in this one, it's pretty good. I will say, again, going back to the hybrid nature of this vehicle, it is a little bit for fuel economy. It's also a little bit for power. So you do get that instantaneous torque from the electric drive of this vehicle. And it does give you that quick burst of acceleration, and then you can feel when the turbo kicks in, you can feel just everything. This really is a nice kick in the pants when you go to accelerate in this vehicle. It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to drive. I would say even in comfort mode. I know when we do our family review later this week, Holly will be behind the wheel. We'll talk a little bit more about the ride in comfort mode, but here in Sport Plus, in its firmest setting, I am on an East Texas back road. There are some imperfections in the road, I'm not gonna lie. And this is actually a very loud textured pavement for many different vehicles that I've brought back here. Most notably the Toyota GR86. That was probably the loudest vehicle that I brought back here. But here in this well-insulated Mercedes-AMG cabin, you know that you're on textured pavement, but it's just not overbearing. This is really a quiet and serene environment. And then everything is just very communicative with you, whether it be the brake, the exhaust. You saw those cross-drilled rotors with the AMG calipers back there. They are good. They stop you very quickly. The accelerator really lets you know when you are going, and is quick to respond. That 9-speed is quick to put you right where you need to be. Again, especially here in Sport Plus mode. And then again, that taut suspension really does what it needs to do in keeping you plated, going in the right direction, but it doesn't upset you. It does as much as it can to override the fact that this is really, can be a tall SUV. Okay, there we've got some deer feeding on the side of the road, which is why I don't drive crazy back here. I am still on public roads. Unfortunately, I'm not on a track. I can't see what this thing would be like to really put the hammer down and put it through its paces. But I can tell you that driving this around in the environments that I have, it's a very fun vehicle. Just how quick that throttle response is, and the turn in, everything about this, woo, get a little bumpy there. You saw the effects of the stiffer suspension with that one, but it's a fun vehicle. Again, I would say this is the Grand Tourer, the GT of SUVs. That's exactly what this feels like. It feels like a bigger version of that AMG GT we tested on these same roads that I absolutely loved. Just a little bit taller, a little more roomy, a little more luxurious for more than just the driver and front passenger. This really is a good, fun vehicle all the way around, and definitely something you would want to take on a road like this that curves and winds and explores the countryside. Although if you are on a highway, this is a perfectly fine highway cruiser as well. Again, ventilated seats and all the luxurious touches that you would expect from a Mercedes-Benz product. Which brings me to, I mentioned earlier, we are also test driving the Ford Bronco Raptor this week. And while we have a 22 model of that, and this is a 24 model Mercedes-Benz, if you were to go out to your Ford dealership and buy a Raptor like the one that we are driving right now, it would be $96,000, $97,000. And it's Ford build quality. You can definitely tell where they put their time, energy, and effort, and that's its off-road ability. This thing can go off-road, and yes, I am comparing a Ford with a Mercedes, but hang with me here, because when it comes to price tag, this is a $94,000 SUV compared to that $96,000, $97,000 that Ford Bronco that we've got in the driveway right now. So when it comes to spending that kind of cash on a vehicle and being able to get all out of it that you would want, as much fun as that Ford Bronco Raptor is, this thing is much more luxurious. It is much more fun to live with day in and day out. And the ventilated seats definitely play a huge part in my love for it here on this July 4th weekend. But that is about it for me behind the wheel of this Mercedes-AMG GLE 53 Coupe. If you want to see what Holly and Tucker think, be sure and subscribe, follow along, ring the bell, comment, like, subscribe, you know, all the things to let the algorithm know to show you more content from us. You can find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com, where you can see some of our pictures of this vehicle and read more about it. Things I don't actually have off the top of my head while navigating deer, traffic, curves, all the like. As for me, until next time, gearheads. Make sure I look good. It's important. AMG 53 GLE Coupe. I think I got it all in there. Let's try that again.